Live from the Stream Center in Tampa, Florida, the home of News Channel 8, your official Bucs station. This is Bucs Bonus on WFLA Now, powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY.
The post-Tom Brady era sets sail this Sunday with big questions for the Bucs. Is Baker Mayfield the right fit, or should it have been that man, Kyle Trask? Will Mike Evans get the deal that he deserves, and are the playoffs even possible? That's ahead on our Season 3 kickoff special of Bucs Bonus on WFLA Now, powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back, Bucs fans. JB here with you in the Stream Center alongside, the two deserve the applause button.
Football.
Dan, Lucas, Karen Loftus. Guys, we have made it. Football is back. Dan, you excited?
Look, the college games got me going the past couple of weeks and this past weekend. So I know Thursday night, Kansas City Chiefs have their big celebration. I think it's going to be a good game against Detroit. And then the weekend just goes crazy from there. I'm really pumped. Can
Karen,
you tell?
Yeah, he's pumped. I can see
pumped.
it.
I'm pumped. Yeah.
It
didn't come across that way. I am pumped.
Dan's pumped, and so am
Fully.
I.
I'm very excited.
You guys are doing so much work behind the scenes, covering, of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We are your official Bucs station here at WFLA News Channel 8. We've got a whole show ready to go for you. And we're going to start here with some of the biggest question marks regarding your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of analysis done in the offseason, power rankings, predictions that are coming in, put the Bucs in the bottom 5 in the league with a lowest chance, as far as perhaps reaching the Super Bowl among some other teams out there like the Cardinals and a couple of others. But we're going to get into that later. I want to start with the biggest Buccaneers headline this week, and that, of course, surrounds Mike Evans. Can't even imagine, of course, a scenario where Mike Evans plays out the back end of his career in any other uniform other than a Buccaneers uniform. So, Dan, Karen, who wants to lead things off? Where are things right now with the contract talks surrounding Mike Evans, really the most recognizable player on this team?
Well, the latest developments, if you want to call them developments, because it's actually a stalemate, is that early reports of good feelings between both sides. Those are true. Those things have been discussed. The Evans side, and Mike Evans himself is clearly aware of the Bucs' limitations, not only this year but next year, with dead cap next year and where he would fit in on the salary cap. You got to consider who else they're trying to re-sign: Tristan Wirfs, Devin White, probably Baker Mayfield. If everything works out, Baker Mayfield's got to get a big quarterback deal. He's not trying to put himself above that. Mike Evans is a team guy, and he's a big picture guy. However, the business side of it has not gone as his camp would have liked it to go. And when the agent came out with this, and I don't think I'm off the mark here, it was worded as such that the Bucs are doing the proper steps and diligence as well. This is not a standoff and I'm gonna walk. I'm not gonna show up. This is let's take care of this now. I almost thought it was a jab at ownership rather than Jason Light in the front office. That's how I interpreted it. But a deal is not in place.
Yeah, and that thing that keeps coming up is what you mentioned, is like it's the business side of it is like that stuff does need to be worked out, and players have contracts, and that's a very big part of this, and you can't have it without the contract. So you just hope that both sides come to an agreement that's happy for everybody, because to your point, JB, it's like I don't think Bucs fans could imagine him moving on to another team.
I could tell you this, in my conversations with Mike Evans, really through his whole career, it matters him being here. It matters to him. He loves being here, and he came here in dark times and went through the era. He's played for 4 or 5 different quarterbacks. Tom Brady came and got him to where he probably thought he would never get, and that's to the Super Bowl. And now that Brady is gone, Evans is looking around and realizing this team is not bad. I can help this team get back to the top. That's how he's looking at it. I'll guarantee you that. He also is aware of his own place in NFL history, and that's where we are now with him, NFL history that he's chasing. And I said to him in New York, I said, everybody except you is talking about legacy and things that are going to come to you, if everything stays on this pace. What keeps you so motivated and so disciplined? And he says, I don't like bad film.
Yes, he said that multiple times, and I heard him say that in your interview with him too.
He is very focused. He's a humble guy and very focused. And I think he would like to, and I've said this before, if they can keep him here, I think he does go down as the greatest Buccaneer ever.
Wow.
Which is saying something. I think he's in the Hall of Fame, and I don't. That's not going on a limb. I think he could be the greatest Buccaneer ever if the Bucs bring him back. That's what's at stake with this Mike Evans contract.
9 straight 1,000-yard seasons to start his career.
He will do something. Oof. By the time he is done, he will leave a standard and all the indicators of whatever you want to pick with offense, numbers that may not be attainable for future Bucs players. That's the Mike Evans legacy that I'm talking about. Yeah. And I think that matters to him.
And now, am I crazy? I'm looking up, and Mike Evans turned 30 years old this past August 21st. Am I crazy to think that he has many seasons of being a legitimate contributor to this offense still ahead? I mean, 30 years old for a wide receiver you're not ancient.
I'd say several. I feel like the many implies like, and I think 10 more years.
I think Tom Brady.
Several.
I think Tom Brady influenced him away from football.
Like in his rehab and his modalities.
How you care for yourself, how your workout routine, your diet, this kind of things. Evans he's altered things in his lifestyle, I guess I should say, based on what Tom Brady showed him. Which is a great example for anyone who wants to play football. And Tom Brady going into his mid-40s, Mike Evans is seeing this. I know the position is different, and there's more wear and tear, and he can't play as long as Tom Brady did. But there's a number of years left of full effectiveness. This isn't a guy who's going to fade off.
Yeah.
No, he's got a number of years left.
A number. Many, several, a number.
Very different labels from three different.
Open to interpretation.
Yeah. He has to be. The Bucs are in a tight spot, JB, because they have got to get him. Everything's a pay scale now. And so where he fits in the NFL pay scale and how that will go up eventually. And then, of course, you'll want to load it with incentives and bonuses and try and keep that back end as friendly to the team as possible. They're in a spot where they've got to figure out how to make it satisfactory. And the numbers that I saw, I believe what is being asked might actually be less than a franchise tag. That's where Mike Evans is on this. That's not saying, I'll take a pay cut just to stay here. That's him saying, I understand the situation. I understand the big picture. Let's make this happen. That's why I'm really on the side of the player here.
I was just trying to think of the best comp for Mike Evans and how many, of course, years we might get of Mike Evans should he re-sign with the Buccaneers. And I think the best comp that's coming up, at least in just a quick search, is probably a Julio Jones, who, did drop off in his 30s. I mean, he's not the same player, bouncing around from several different teams as he was, of course, with the Falcons. So are we going to get a career trajectory in his 30s like a Julio Jones where there's going to be a tapering off? Is that the reason why the Bucs front office or Bucs ownership is kind of weary about giving him that massive, contract or a significant contract?
I think that's status quo in the NFL. I mean, you're running a football team and a player gets into their 30s, and yes, the numbers and the injury history says not a good idea to invest, that much money in a player that's really a non-quarterback. Let's say that. There's risk involved. But I go back to the fact that early in his career, Mike Evans had hamstring problems, and it was something that hit him every year in some way. In fact, there's a couple of seasons he didn't finish. Still had 1,000-yard seasons, but in week 14 or 15 or whatever, he hurt his hamstring. He's not available. Knock on wood. The changes he's made, I think the guy's better than he was 6-7 years ago.
I'm going to put you guys on the spot and ask you, of course, the big question. Do you think that they are able to figure out some kind of multi-year deal. But, of course, we have the contract deadline that Evans himself imposed ahead of kickoff this Sunday against the Vikings. Do you think a deal gets done? Do you think Mike Evans is a Buck for life? Do you think he gets to another 1,000-yard season? These are the questions that Bucs fans really want to know.
Yeah. Well, you know me. I feel like if we start with me, you guys know my eternal optimist. Yes, everybody's going to be happy. It's going to be fine.
Yep, love it.
Of course. Obviously, that's my answer.
I just love your answer. That's why I'm going to come to you more often first if I
Positive.
can.
So happy.
Dan, what do you think?
I think that we'll wind up with a Devin White situation. I think,
okay.
What something appeased Devin White, who was a little bit more vocal in his own situation with the team for weeks, to the point where it got really awkward to open up social media and be like, oh boy, what is he going to say today? I think there could be something behind the scenes that's kind of like everybody hedging bets on themselves, which is what they're doing with Devin White, essentially, to say, listen, let's press forward, and when the time is right, when the money can be allocated a certain way to certain people, yes, let's do the deal. That's my opinion. But as that deadline says, I don't know. I'm not really sure what that means. I've never really, the guy's going to show up to work.
Because that's the thing about Evans. I mean, he's a pro.
They're not going to talk. The talks will end, is the deadline. And that's how I'm looking at it.
As we look here at the preseason NFC South standings, which, I mean, really at this point now means very little. But of course, the Buccaneers finishing the preseason with a 2-1 record. These games you watched on your official Buck station, WFLA News Channel 8. A big round of applause, by the way, by our entire broadcast crew that brought our preseason, our sports coverage together on air. Eileen is sitting behind me. We'll talk more with Eileen here in just a moment. But I want to go now to our preview for week number 1. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Minnesota Vikings. And you love week 1 because everyone is on the same level playing field. They're all 0-0. We talked about, as far as our key storylines on WFLA.com, we talked about the Evans era and whether or not there's even a remote chance, as crazy as it might seem to Bucs fans, whether or not this could be the final season of Mike Evans calling Raymond James Stadium home. But let's move on to the next key storyline, and that's Baker's big debut. You guys are talking to players. You guys are Bucs insiders. What is sort of that talk behind the scenes about how Baker is doing? Of course, you're going to get rave reviews. He's the starting guy. He's a former Heisman Trophy winner, former #1 overall pick. The accolades we know, but there's also his time in Carolina. Didn't go necessarily according to plan. He, of course, ended up with the Rams last season. Is he the right guy, the right fit for this team? I'm going to start with the optimist again. Karen, why don't we start with you?
From what I've heard from players, coaches, there's a lot of confidence in him. And it's been tabbed that it was the Jets week where he really settled in. Bowles was saying, just his level of comfortability with the offense, being able to play faster in the offense. And when he felt like he really had a handle on it. And I think his teammates have a lot of confidence in him too, of just his command, his comfortability, and his abilities.
Dan, what do you think?
Well, all the right things have been said for sure, and I agree with Karen in that. And yes, the decision was made halfway through the preseason. This is the direction we're going to take. First of all, I'll go on the record. I think it's going to go very well for Baker Mayfield here, which is going to play into the contract situation next year, coming off of the Mike Evans talk. There's something different about him, and it's not. People say, "Oh, he's more humble." I see a guy who is just relieved. He even said he spoke today talking about Dave Canales and the offense. What did he say? It was refreshing.
Yeah, Dave Canales' sort of attitude and how his positivity, my people, about how he's the next play.
The other thing that stands out to me about Baker Mayfield is when he was in free agency, we all knew, everyone knew wherever he went, it was going to probably be on a 1-year deal, a show me type thing. But he had choices, he had options, and he chose this team with a brand new offensive coordinator who has never called a play in an NFL game. What does that tell you? It says his little stint in LA, he got a taste of a similar style of offense, and he loved it. And I think when he weighed his options, he saw the offense, the scheme, something that would set him up for success. And then he took a look at what he has around him. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, an offensive line that's better than people are giving it credit. Rachaad White, who is exciting and untapped in some ways as a running back. This could be fun. I think he thought this could be fun to come in here and prove people wrong. Coming off of the Tom Brady era, and Baker's, he's not a fool. He reads the stuff about Tom Brady's not there, the Bucs are doomed. I think this is a tremendous opportunity for Baker Mayfield. That's how he's looking at it. And
the fun that you mentioned, a lot of people have used that word in talking about this offense, and like sort of the aura around this team is like, we're having fun and we're excited to sort of put it all out there week one. And I don't think he feels like he has to carry it. I honestly feel like he has come into this offense. Dave Canales says we're asking our quarterback to be a point guard. I honestly think that Baker thinks of himself as that point guard, not having to do anything drastic. He's not being asked to be the savior. And if he operates within that offense, the Bucs are going to be successful. The challenge for Baker Mayfield is, and throughout his entire career, how will he handle success? And so that's going to be the next step. They need to go out and show what they can do, see what happens. And if the Bucs are pretty good at that bye week, things are looking okay, how does Baker handle that? Because then now the Bucs will be in the radar from the national perspective, and I'm curious to see how he would handle that. I think he's in for a good season. When our digital content producer Casey Sloan put on Twitter a poll asking who should be the Bucs starting quarterback, Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, there was a lot of love for the former Florida Gator. Yeah. So depending on how the weeks, let's take a look here at the schedule. We have that early bye, as Dan just noted. It's coming up in week 5, and depending on how the Buccaneers are doing at that point, there might be some calls for either more Baker, or there might be calls for, hey, let's give the kid who played behind Tom Brady a chance to prove himself. Really quickly before, of course, we move on to our other key storylines, I kind of want to put you guys on the spot here. Fact or fiction? Baker Mayfield is getting more headlines than Dave Canales is as far as revitalizing that offense, and the more of the focus should be on the Canales offense than Baker Mayfield taking over. Fact or fiction? Fiction. Fiction. You think that? I think they're getting equal amount of play. Maybe that's just me and like my reporting. I don't know. I think they go hand in hand, and I know that as far as I'm presenting them, it's like both of them. You don't have one without the other, and they're so incredibly important to this team, both of those storylines. I think that that's really interesting, because I think that your reporting has been very reflective of, hey, look, this is a new offense under Dave Canales, and it's got Baker Mayfield really at the middle of it, but all of the national talk, the analysts, it's all Baker, 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 and you never hear Canales' name really uttered all that much. It's really just about whether or not Baker Mayfield is going to fizzle out in Tampa Bay like he did in Carolina. So what do you think, Dan? Well, one thing and I don't want to take a jab at the national media, but the way it works when you can. When you're a national, we're here. I mean, when you're a national writer, analyst, whatever role you have at a network or something like that, you are looking kind of a blanketing the NFL, if you will. It's very simple to look at the Bucs, and I think it's one reason of the perception of the Bucs. It's very easy to go, all right, Tampa Bay, what do you got? Tom Brady's out, Baker Mayfield's in. Well, they're done. It's very simple without really diving in and talking to people who've been at camp, who have watched reps in practice and in the preseason games and watched his efficiency and how it works hand in hand with Dave Canales. To sit there, it would be very difficult to say, if you've seen all that this team is doomed. I don't see how that's possible. It doesn't mean they're going to, if they lose a lot of games, they lose a lot of games. But I don't think it's a fair perception from the national perspective that this is doom and gloom. I really don't.
I think it's going to be really. I'm just going to say this. I can't wait to see the Canales offense on Sunday. I'm ready for 1 o'clock, and we're going to wrap up our game preview here. We have a lot more to talk about on this episode, but I want to wrap up our preview of Buccaneers Vikings by looking here at the third key storyline on your screen. It's stopping Justin Jefferson, who might just be the most talented player in the NFL. Have you guys heard any talk as to what it's going to look like as far as how they're going to D up Justin Jefferson and stop that Kirk Cousins to Jefferson connection?
I don't think that's something they're going to tell us.
No, right. That's probably going to stay under wraps.
The scheme will be released tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Who's the go-to corner?
Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean. I think if I had to predict, because they want turnovers this year. What's the goal? 30? Okay.
Yep.
So there's going to be some interceptions. I think Jamel Dean's going to be the interception leader.
Wow.
But I think Carlton Davis will get the harder assignments.
You know that there's like that battle between the cornerbacks and the safeties.
Yeah.
Like who gets the
like
most?
War eagling, between each
All
other.
of it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the pressure's on Carlton Davis. And I think there's going to be some help in that as well, in the defensive backfield. But I will hang my hat on this pass rush. And I'm not predicting 5 sacks of Kirk Cousins. He eludes the rush. But anything you can do to throw off a route or a play as it develops, I think this defensive line and those 2 outside backers, Shaq Barrett, Tryon Shoyinka,
Yes.
Can get to the quarterback. And Vita Vea.
The
as
things
well,
that
yes.
I have heard people saying about Shaq Barrett, in the locker room, about how he has flashes of like the old Shaq Barrett,
Right.
like pre-injury, that you think about his season with 19 sacks, the quarterback sacks that he had. And it's like, if he can do that again, and just starting with that pass rush. And we don't know about Kalijah Cansey's status for the game yet, but I think Shaq was asked about that, about Kalijah and Vita just being, on the interior there and what they can create for the rest of them on the outside.
In the one day that they practiced with the Jets up in New Jersey, the ones went up against each other, and Tryon Shoyinka got 2 shoulder touches on Aaron Rodgers, the old whistle-blown sack.
Count it.
But and then of course Rodgers, they blow the whistle, Rodgers ducks out of it and throws the ball, and the Jets fans cheer. Yeah, Rodgers gets out of the sack. And Rodgers was a dead man on that play. And it was Joe Tryon Shoyinka who got to him. But the pass rush just had a great push that day. It was something to see, and it stood out to me. One reason is the Jets are having offensive line question marks themselves. However, to see this in a 1-versus-1 situation, which we have not seen at all, it stood out to me as like, wow, maybe this is something that's going to be a little different this year.
Really looking forward to seeing how the defense lines up against Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, and the Minnesota Vikings. We'll, of course, have updates on Kalijah Cansey's availability and how he's progressing on WFLA.com. Digital content producer Casey Sloan will be keeping us posted over there. You mentioned Shaq Barrett. I don't know. We're in week 1. I just want to state this now. The 2 Buccaneers that I root for the hardest, because I am a Bucs fan as part of this program, I root for Shaq Barrett. I want him to just have the best year possible. And you guys know, I love me some Tristan Wirfs. And I hope that he is, of course, able to do his thing with his big position shift. That's my dude right there. So fingers crossed for him as well. As far as another dude that we love here on this program, we can say that he's officially a member of our team. He called in every episode last year. And of course, we're not changing anything with our formula on season 3 of Bucs Bonus. He even has his own intro animation. I want you guys to check this out.
Okay.
This is Bucified Bert calling in with his big season prediction ahead of week 1 against the Vikings.
Oh, no.
Morning, JB. I want to say hello to everybody. I'm ready for the 2023 Bucs Bonus. Let's get started. I'm going to recap a little bit about what happened when the Bucs played in the preseason. We didn't show anybody anything. Todd Bowles didn't want to demonstrate what he really has. So we didn't show nobody anything, and we won 2 games. So this outfit going to help get even more victories, because the outfit is the Bugatti of any outfit that I ever had. This outfit has everything on it. Got Super Bowls and everything, but it's a post-Tom Brady outfit. So it is ready. It is the Bugatti of any outfit I ever had. And now we're getting ready to play against the Minnesota Vikings. Well, keep in mind, we are defending titles for the South Division. We don't want back-to-back. We're going for 3. And after that, we're taking it to the promised land. That's all we need to do is just get this here division title back-to-back-to-back, and that's what's going to happen. And then we'll be ready for Las Vegas. Thank you, JP, for letting me share my prediction for the Buccaneers 2023. I'm out.
Man, Bucified Bert with a prediction.
We love him.
I mean, look.
All I can say is this, JB. Does he wear that when it's 100 degrees? That's what I want to know.
Man, for our Spotify and Apple Podcast audience, Bucified Bert is wearing a new getup this year with a big, fancy, heavy. I felt it. I felt it today. I did. It is thick fabric, so God help that man on a 90-degree day at Raymond James Stadium because he's going to be sweating bullets. But this introduces our next subject matter. We have a lot more to get to in the next 10 minutes, so we got to try to move this conversation along as quickly as possible. Bucified is very much on brand as being the super fan of the Bucs, is very much believes that an NFC South title is in play. He also mentioned Las Vegas, which of course is going to be deemed crazy talk to some of the national outlets out there. But what are the expectations, really? I mean, for the Bucs this season, is the division in play? And how far can this team go?
I think the division's in play, especially this division's wide open. So why not the Bucs, right?
What do you think, Dan?
I would think before we even kick a football that you would have to say the Saints are probably the team to chase in the NFC South. But one slip by any team, and that's Bucs, Saints, Panthers, Falcons, could be devastating for those teams. I think it's going to be that tight from top to bottom. Last year, 8-9 was the division champ. It wouldn't shock me if 8-9 wins the division again this year.
So who is the biggest threat to the Buccaneers this year as far as the division? Are we talking New Orleans?
I say Saints.
Okay.
I say Saints because, one, they're probably the best team on paper, but also that Week 4 game, the Bucs at New Orleans. In the Bucs' perspective, that is an absolute danger week for them, depending on how they're going into that bye week. If they're on a good trajectory or the other direction. And I'll say this real quick, because the bye week there in Week 5, it is realistic that this team looks terrific and is 1-3 at the bye week. Can the fans handle that? If you say, oh, it's 1-3, it's over. I mean, odds say maybe, but you're trying to win the NFC South. And on the back side of that, I know there's tough games there, but there's a chance to stack some wins as well and get over 500 in a hurry after that bye week. That's the decision week for me with all of this. You know, if they go into that bye week and you're like, oh my, what is going on here? That's when you start thinking about, okay, do we go to Trask? Do we do different things to try and figure this out moving forward? Or do we go all in? I think, you know, like I said, 1-3, 2-2 at the bye week, I think that sets it up for big things later.
I mean, looking here at the schedule, yeah, the Eagles are going to be tough. That's week 3, of course. I think is that Monday Night Football?
It's a Monday night game.
Yep, that's right.
Rondé Barber night. They're going to give him his Hall of Fame ring in front of all the Eagles fans.
Applause button, by the way.
Yeah.
Great job on the Rondé special, you guys.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, my goodness. Rondé loves
Karen
him.
with the family was the best part by far.
Awesome stuff. I mean,
Yes.
Rondé is part of the WFLA family, and of course, you know, we work with him a lot in the preseason. Our whole team here at WFLA, and what a class act! It was obviously what a big offseason for him going into the to the Hall of Fame. We're going to end out this particular episode with one more Bucified package, and this is a treat for the two of you.
Okay.
No, I say this
because here we go. We gave Bucified an assignment. I mean, we didn't get him in that, you know, big costume that he wears at Raymond James Stadium just for that one phone-in segment. Okay, we asked him to go around WFLA, your official Bucs station, and just ask some of the hard-working personnel here at WFLA their expectations for the Bucs. I'm going to be very candid here, very honest. I have not seen this yet. Ooh. I did see Bucified making his way around the station earlier today with a microphone that you will just absolutely love when you see it, to the audience that's actually watching us. But we just told Bucified, look, we want you to roam around the station and interview people about your expectations for the Bucs this year. And here we go.
Okay, this is Bucified Bert, and you know I work at the official TV station for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to go around the station and see if they feeling it like I feel. I feel we're getting ready to go all the way, but I'm going to go around the station and check with some of my colleagues, see if they feeling it, thinking the way I think about the Bucs. What do you think about the Bucs this year?
Yeah, no, I think we're going to blow everyone out of the water. All those predictions, we're going to do much better than that.
Oh, my God, and that's Amanda. Now, let's just go with Rebecca.
Yeah, we're meteorologists. We're forecasters of many things. I think we're definitely going to at least the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
I just want Brooke to say a little something about the Buccaneers. She's fanatical. She knows how to talk that talk and walk that walk. She can give you her prediction, and it'll be real awesome.
Go Bucks. It's going to be Bucktastic this year.
Let me just tell you, we got Baker Mayfield, right?
That's the real deal.
Baker's from Ohio, right?
Yes.
He's a Bigfoot hunter.
Yes.
He's going to be in the pocket, a Bigfoot hunter. Halfway through the season, it's going to be Brady who?
What do you think about the Buccaneers doing anything this year, winning-wise?
I think that with support from fans like you, their #1 fan, they're going all the way.
That's
Super
what I'm
Bowl.
talking about. Yes. All right. What do you think about this season? I mean, with Baker Mayfield being the quarterback, post-Tom Brady.
I think that if I told the truth and it was not a good opinion, I'd get in a lot of trouble with the fan base. So let me try to couch this. I think they will be as good as Baker Mayfield allows them to be.
I just want to say, let's go Bucs. We got this season. A lot of young players, new talent, but that don't mean nothing. We got a team that's ready to win.
You know, I have high hopes. I know a lot of people were a little bit disappointed when Tom Brady announced his retirement, me included. But I think that good energy and that vibration that he brought to the team is going to stick. And I went to the preseason games, every home preseason game, and you can feel that energy.
Bucs start their season out this week against the Minnesota Vikings. What do you think about the Bucs using Baker Mayfield to take us to the promised land?
Well, you know I'm from Minnesota. I can't say I'm a Vikings fan, but I'm a Bucs fan. I think he's going to do just fine. I think he's going to come out like he never missed a beat. He's going to lead us to a victory. It's going to be 27-21 Bucs.
Oh my God, that's coming from Josh.
And you're going to be really warm in that outfit.
Okay, well, that's coming from Josh, and we're going to accept this. Thank you so much, Josh. Okay, you in fit? Okay, I'm serious. Yeah, everybody needs to tag Matt. Come on, tag.
Man, how about that from our marketing department too?
Yes.
There at the
I
end.
love it.
Man, just absolutely awesome.
My takeaway from that is if a Sasquatch shows up at one of these games, that the Baker Mayfield will defeat the Sasquatch. Is that what we were going with? That?
Yeah, that's Matt Larson, who is who's a Bigfoot or Sasquatch
He's a
hunter.
Bigfoot fan. Bigfoot fan.
My favorite was Albert's poker face when Josh says I'm from Minnesota. And Albert's like, just let him talk.
Keep going. Go on.
Yes. Absolutely love it. I think we're going to be putting Bucified to work this year.
I
He'll
love
have more
it.
segments.
That's
We're going to be
awesome.
incorporating in more. And folks, if you've ever been to Raymond James Stadium for a Bucs game, guess what? You have seen him on the Jumbotron because the Jumbotron loves some Bucified. And so you'll be catching him, I'm sure, this season at pretty much every game at Raymond James Stadium, starting, as you see right there, the home opener against the Chicago Bears next week at 1 o'clock. There's one other member. I'm going to go to Slider Cam here. One other member of our team. Yes, we have to introduce.
Do the applause.
Yeah, how about the applause button? Eileen, why don't you turn on your microphone? Can you turn on your mic?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
You know, I would just like to say this. First of all, I love all of you, right? I know. Hi. It is so awesome to be here. I am just happy to be here. Growing up, going to games, and now covering them is so amazing, such a dream. And I'll tell you this, with these predictions on this team, it is so hard to win in the NFL, right? Like, it is so hard to win. And I think the Bucs, they have a lot of good players on both sides of the ball. And I think fans are going to be surprised about them this year. I really do. Because I'm just listening to you guys, and I'm thinking this in my head. I'm like, turn my mic on. Turn my mic on, JB.
We got
so,
you.
Yeah.
Some thoughts.
No,
I
yeah.
have some thoughts.
Right? How much? Yeah, we actually aren't. we don't have much left on.
Dan, we've got now multiple optimists here. Multiple optimists with Karen and Eileen. Eileen will be taking over for me in a large respect this year, and it'll be a lot of the WFLA sports team, our Bucs insiders on this program, really taking the mic. So awesome stuff. I can't wait.
Because congratulations. You're becoming a dad.
Yes,
Tell them why.
I will be a dad in the weeks ahead.
Papa.
So
there he is.
Where's the applause?
Yeah, where's the applause?
Button. There it is. Yeah, so paternity leave is coming up for me, and I will be listening, of course, to your analysis on the Bucs, you guys. I cannot wait to be a listener or a watcher at home. So Eileen, I can't wait. We've already been working together these last few weeks. I'm looking forward to switching roles a little bit and watching episodes and listening in the future.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's football season.
It's here,
it's
you
football
guys.
season.
It's here. The last member of our team. We went over Karen, Dan, myself.
Do we have
Eileen.
a Casey cam?
Yeah, we don't have
Casey
a Casey
cam.
cam. We need to get a Casey cam.
Work on that.
Casey, are you watching us?
Casey's work.
She's watching.
She's
waving. She's waving. Casey's out in our
Casey
newsroom
cam.
right now. Casey is the one, with the magic wand writing all of the article content that you're going to find on WFLA.com all season long. There's a lot of big storylines, of course, to monitor this year. None bigger than Mike Evans, of course, and his contract discussions going on right now with the Tampa Bay Bucs. Any updates, you'll find them on your home base for all things Buccaneers, WFLA.com. One more time from Slider Cam, the whole team here at WFLA. We are so excited for another season 3 of Bucs Bonus. Yes, we will do a wave to Slider Cam. And to those of you listening in on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we love you guys too. You can't see us, but
we're all waving, by the way, as if we're at Buckingham Palace.
I think that was just you.
It's a beauty pageant wave. Your best beauty pageant wave, Dan.
I did the static. Hello. Hi.
We are going to be streaming Wednesdays, 4 o'clock. That's live on WFLA.com. But, of course, the episodes will then find their way through the virtual channels to YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. For the entire Bucs Bonus on WFLA Now team, thanks so much for watching. And we'll see you next week when the Buccaneers have actually played a game. We end our stream by saying, as always, go Bucs. Take care, everybody.